One more time. Welcome back to the Comic Book Bullies. We're Nerds and New Bully. I'm your host, Leroy, with my co-host.
This is your friendly neighborhood, Eli.
There he is, swinging in. So like I said, this episode is going to be a very special episode this time. We're going to strictly talk about Black Panther. We're going to start it off about the review. We are going to start off with just non-spoilerific. So if you just want to see what we think about it and just get our quick opinion, we'll give you that. After we give you that, we'll go into full spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen it, definitely, watch the movie first. Or if you don't give a fuck, just keep on listening from there. That being said, I guess we could just briefly talk about, like, Eli, let me ask you this. When did you see the movie?
I saw it Friday morning.
Okay. How many times did you get a chance to see it?
I only saw it once. I had to work. I had a show this weekend, so yeah, I worked. I tried to go see it Thursday night, but I worked a little too late, so I didn't get a chance to go Thursday night. So then I had to work Friday night. So I just got up kind of early on Friday morning and fuck it, I'm gonna go see it.
Okay, makes sense.
Noon. Yeah, $5 before noon. So
$5. What the fuck?
Yeah,
like 4 times what I paid, but okay. Like I said, you got a chance to see it. I went and saw it Thursday night after work. I took off on January, bought my ticket, requested off. My boss requested me that same day anyway. I was like, what the fuck? So I had to talk to him the week before when he put me on schedule, like, no, take me off. I didn't tell him why I was taking off, anything like that, but I went in and did that. Now, Eli, remember I kept stressing that about, I'm going to, get a dashiki and get some kente cloth and, get a beanie and some shit, I mean, I wanted to walk in. The theater I went to, every black person was like that. This was not a drill. They were dressed up in fashion, dashikis, everything. Everybody was looking beautiful. Women looking beautiful. Men looking beautiful. I wanted to come like an African king also, but the problem is the African king didn't get paid till Friday. So I just went all black. I just saw some stuff I had. I just went it all black. My pants weren't quite black, but they were gray enough that they maybe can pass with the right shoes. So I just went ahead and went in there and, just enjoyed the movie. So everything was pretty good. Another thing, every single theater Showtime was sold out. Every single one. When we went in there, the top seats were packed, so I had to sit at the very front, the very first row. Mm-hmm. Look up at it and watching the whole time. I was like, it sucks, but hey, at least I got a chance to get in there. And then I even tried to go back again to see it, but that's the problem. I couldn't because it was sold out everywhere for the next couple days. This was worse. Remember I told you this shit with Star Wars? This was worse than that.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is now. Like, if you don't go see it, if you don't get advanced tickets, then trying to see it opening weekend is kind of difficult because, it does sell out. Or you got to, you get crappy seats and all that shit. And
right.
So I was surprised that I got up on Thursday or Friday morning and got in and, got fairly decent seats. I was kind of in the front a little bit, but not too bad.
Yeah. So somebody showed me a picture of the movie theater I went to. Like, I went and saw it that Thursday. They showed me a picture of it that Friday night. They said the line was wrapped around the building. I was like
the old days.
Like, wow, this is insane. What make it even worse, in Brookhaven, Mississippi, and I hate to bring this up, but yes, there were protesters outside.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, they had picket fences the entire time. They said it was a Christian group, but come on, we know. We know why they were there. My thing is about this. I'm gonna just address that Christian group in Brookhaven. Yes, I'm giving you media time, so congratulations. Okay, you're saying you're not protesting Black Panther because of race. You say you're doing it because you're Christian and we shouldn't be watching movies. Where were you doing Thor Ragnarok? Where were you when Marvel was promoting paganism? A pagan god that goes directly against Christianity. You were nowhere seen then. But when Black Panther comes out, all of a sudden now you're all up in arms and stuff outside marching and outside the theaters. So I don't know. That's Mississippi for you. Oh, you didn't see that Chris Rock special, did you?
No.
On Netflix, he shitted on Mississippi pretty bad. I can't even get mad. I'm from Mississippi, and I can't even get mad about it because I was like, yeah, I kind of know the road he went on when he was saying that. So let me say, anything else we got to go before we go full speed ahead into this?
Are we talking about box office? Or
yeah, that's the next thing I was going to go into.
Oh, yeah, that's there.
Okay, hit the theme song. Put you on the spot. Okay. Let's go to the box office. Now, number one, Eli, I'm going to give you one wild guess, which was the number one movie at the box office.
Oh, do I need to guess?
Not really. Not really. Shockingly, I'll just go ahead and say yes. Shockingly, it was Black Panther, like by a insane margin. It hit the weekend of 235 million. Now,
Ooh.
that's insane. Now, here's the thing. Now, if you looking at that number, nobody was expecting it. People were expecting. And the funny thing about it, you saw the reports. They were like, Variety says it's going to do 120. Like, okay. Variety, next week it said Variety says it's going to do 150. Like, okay. Variety says it's going to do 170. What? Variety says it's going to do 180. What? Variety says it's going to do 200 million. Like, wait, what the fuck? Like, Avengers is 207. Now, here's the thing. It didn't beat Avengers. I don't think it did. Not the Avengers box office, but I think it's like the fifth highest grossing movie opening weekend of all time. I think that. It was close. The real opening weekend of Black Panther was 201 million. So it's only two Marvel movies that have cracked 200 million over the weekend. The first Avengers movie and Black Panther. That's it. No other movie has done it.
Damn.
So that's insane. Going past that, let's see what was number two. Okay, Eli, what was number two? Now we got a challenge. Now we got a game.
Is it the 50 Shades of Balls or whatever?
Nope, but you were close.
Oh.
You were close to the balls. I'll tell you. Number two was Peter Rabbit.
Oh, okay.
I heard some good things about Peter Rabbit. People saying they like it, stuff like that. And I heard some people say they just went and saw Peter Rabbit because they couldn't get into Black Panther. So since they were already there with their kids, they're like, let's go see another movie, which is pretty cool. Number three was 50 Shades Freed. Did you hear the story about the crowd that went to Black Panther and 50 Shades Freed played instead?
I heard, yeah, I did hear that.
They have footage of it. I showed it. The crowd was booing, throwing stuff. I was like, that's hilarious, man. Number four, still hanging in there, is Jumanji. Wow, let's look at Jumanji real quick. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Jumanji right now is at 900 million. That's insane. That's crazy for a Jumanji movie. Number 15, the 1517 to Paris. The flag waving Clint Eastwood movie. Yeah. Number 6, and we just keep going down. Number 6, The Greatest Snowman. The Greatest Showman. Was that movie called The Snowman?
No,
was it like a horror movie or something?
Musical?
No, I mean, yeah, I know it's a Hugh Jackman movie, but wasn't there like a horror movie called The Snowman? Snowman. Snowman. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. Okay. I get them confused. I do want The Greatest Snowman. They didn't do a parody. Number 7, The Early Man. Or Early Man.
Oh, that's that Wallace and Gromit caveman movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Number 8, Maze Runner, The Death Cure. They just keep cranking out these movies. I don't know. The young adult movie, Number 9, we have Winchester still hanging in there. And then number 10 is The Post, nobody's saying. Now, number 11 shocked me, Eli, that I was kind of surprised that I was hoping would actually make it in theaters. Number 11 was Samson.
Samson?
Yeah, Samson. The Jewish Old Testament hero that, that got weaker.
Really?
Yeah. They made a movie.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Who plays Samson?
Rock? No, not The Rock. You would expect The Rock. It's some rock-looking dude in it, though. Funny thing about it, I did see Hercules at work today, so. But yeah, so I knew that they were making a Samson movie, but I thought it was like down the road. I didn't know it was like that close. I didn't know it was coming out the exact same week as Black Panther. So yeah, black people got their superhero, Jewish people have theirs. So hope you watched it. That being said, like I said, it's hanging in there. Black Panther did 201 over the weekend, even though they're saying it's already grossed 235 million gross. It hasn't hit worldwide every year yet, but right now worldwide is at 400 million. So looking at these numbers, Eli, it looks like $1 billion looks like it's going to be easy to make.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
Good for Marvel.
Yeah, good for Marvel. Marvel is raking in the money.
Or Disney, whatever.
Marvel, Disney, Kevin Feige, like Pearl Mutter, whatever. But that being said, like I said, we can jump into the movie. Like I said, we got a chance to see Black Panther this weekend. Both of us only got a chance to see it once. Hey, let me just ask you, what did you think about the movie? No spoilers, but just what did you think about it?
I liked it. I thought it was fine. I have a few gripes about it, and I know you're not allowed to have any gripes about the movie.
Well, not on this podcast.
But I thought it was fine. I liked it. I thought it was one of the better. It is one of the top tier Marvel movies. It's up there with Winter Soldier and the first Iron Man, and yeah, it is one of the better. I would say top 5 maybe Marvel movies. Maybe I would say I haven't really given a thorough examination of where I'd rank it, but it is one of the better MCU flicks. I thought. I thought it, as far as, for me, I really got into there was no way you're not going to have any political commentary in the Black Panther movie. And I thought they nailed so many great points with this movie.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I enjoyed it so much. I like the characters. I really like the human moments. And I think that's what Marvel does best, is they're really good at dial into the characters and making these superhumans human, the humanity of these superhumans. And I felt they really, really nailed the characters as far as making you care about what everyone was going through. And that's what Marvel does. It makes you give a shit about these characters.
Well, they say that's the difference between Marvel and DC. Marvel makes humans into gods, where DC makes gods try to make them human,
Yeah.
If they say that's the main difference of it. So, yeah. Like I said, I saw what you liked about it. Me, I love this movie. Reason I love this movie because, like I said, for me, it works on 3 different ways. Now, Eli, I know you've been seeing the internet and you've seen video reviews and people doing user reviews like that, and you're kind of seeing the audience score range. It's ranging. Some people are giving it a perfect 10. Some people are giving it a 7, and then you see pretty much everywhere in there. I haven't seen too many under 7. It's a few assholes that have. But, you've seen somewhere floating around that range. And I think the reason it's floating around that range actually is a testament to the movie. Because I think people that go watch this movie, they're getting different things from it because the movie has different layers to it. Now, if you want to watch this movie just on a Marvel action summer movie, it's not summertime, but whatever, you just want to watch this movie on that level, the movie delivers. The movie delivers on that. If you're a comic book fan of Black Panther and you just want to wind on some nerd shit and see how close they stick to the source material, the movie delivers on that. If you want to watch the movie and get something from it, and you want to, like you said, about the social commentary and the politics of the movie delivers on that. I think on that end of it, the last part of it, I think it delivers better on that end than it did on the other parts of it. And to me, that's why I love the movie so much. So I feel like people that did go to the movie and just, comparing it to, say, like Thor Ragnarok or Ant-Man and shit like that, I don't think they got the full effect of the movie. And to the testament of the movie, that's pretty good, because I think the politics of the movie and the social commentary of the movie is there if you want it to be. Because to me, there was a lot of stuff in that movie that I know for a fact a lot of people didn't catch. And if it didn't catch it, it wasn't for them to catch. They just want to just watch this action movie about some dude blowing up the world. Black Panther's a good guy. Got to beat him up. And that's fine. Other things I like about the movie, because, like I said, I read these comic books all the time. So when I go there, I do want to see like a sci-fi fantasy element and stuff like that. And and I can tell the influence where the movies came from. Like I said, I saw heavy James Bond in the movie. Like the first acting movie was all James Bond. Like they just ripped that shit off and that was it.
Yeah.
Lion King, you can't avoid Lion King. And I think everybody saw this. Let's just address the elephant in the room. I saw some Coming to America. Matter of fact, even Chadwick Boseman even kind of reminded me of Eddie Murphy in some scenes for some reason. I don't know why. You know what's weird? The movie kind of reminded me of Star Wars also. Did you get a Star Wars vibe?
Well, I think Star Wars pops up in a lot of movies.
Yeah, but it was overt here. Like, I don't say I saw Star Wars when I saw, Captain America or no shit like that. I say when I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's a given. In this one, just the world and the futuristic vibe of it and everything, or even the family dynamic of it, the betrayal and stuff like that. And matter of fact, it reminded me of Phantom Menace more than anything else. If Phantom Menace was done correctly, because it did have a lot of like similarities to Phantom Menace. I was like, wow, okay.
Trade disputes. Yeah.
It had that in there, like you could say like the Jabbar with the Gungans, they didn't want to, they'll say whatever affects us affect you. And it was all combined. So it was a lot of stuff that was going in that I pretty much like. Like I said, especially we're going to talk about it in a second, but like the characters of it, the characters shine to me the most of it. I'll tell you this. in the movie, to me, I felt like Black Panther, the Black Panther character, was probably the least interesting character in the movie. I feel like everybody else outshined him in there. I feel like his sister outshined. His sister was killing me. Every line she said was hilarious. It was killing me. Other than K. Everett Ross, he was just there just to be there. And I'll talk about him in a second. The General, she was awesome. You could have had a movie just with her. You know, the leader of the Dora Milaje. Killmonger completely stole the show, and that's what made this fire to me. Because to me, he is hands down the best Marvel villain. Now, I said Marvel villain.
That would lead to one of my gripes, is I wish there was more of him. Yeah.
No. And the reason they gave us so little actually was one of the reasons I liked it. Not to say that he couldn't be more in the movie, because the way they used him to me was perfect. Because you really had two villains on it. Let's say Claw was the level 1 villain. Okay, he was a level 1 villain. That's fine. And you think the movie is going this way. Okay, it's just going to be a James Bond adventure. And when you just watch the movie, if you didn't know the backstory, you just watch this movie, you do think that Killmonger, with the way they're using this movie, he just like the number 2, you know, the Starscream of the movie. You don't think much about him. And the point is that Claw underestimated him. And that's how he got taken out, and he became the big bad of the movie. You're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Because you expect the Claw to last a little bit longer than that. So the way they used him made him even more effective, especially when you realize his plan again. Because I think before Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, came to Wakanda, I was underestimating him. Claw was underestimating him. I think the entire audience was underestimating him until they really realized who he was. And to me, that's what made him such an effective villain. Now, like I said, when I say he was the best Marvel villain, I say he's the best Marvel villain. I do not say he's better than Heath Ledger. I do not say he's even in the same league as Heath Ledger. I don't even think he's better than either Bane or Zod. I think those are like my 3 top villains right there. But as far as on the Marvel end, I say he's better than Loki to me. He is, because he's a much more fleshed out character, and you can see his points. Like I said, I'm not spoiling anything, but you can see where he's coming from, and I'll talk about more about that later on. And one more thing, can we stop with the Marvel has shit villains myth? Because that may be true at one point, but it's not like that anymore. You had Vulture. Vulture was awesome. Hela was awesome. I don't care what nobody say. Ego was awesome. Who else we had? It was somebody else that was there too.
Loki. I mean, shit. Loki was pretty much the first main one, and he's cool.
Yeah, Loki is cool too. So yes, I will say they had shit villain, trend, but that's been done. They've been knocking these villains out the park lately, because Hela was flat out like the most powerful villain that any of them ever faced, and then Killmonger comes in and just kills it, and he's their best villain, so they can just do it. And then you got Thanos coming up. I mean, they're gonna knock it out the park with Thanos. This is not gonna be another Ultron situation. So I think they've done it with that. But yeah, like I said, the movie delivers on so many different fronts that you can enjoy it. And fuck it, I'm gonna just give you my score right now. I know you're gonna get your score. I'm gonna give the movie 5 out of 5. It's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. It is. Like I said, I will say Civil War is still my top Marvel movie, but I'm putting this over Winter Soldier because I never ranked Winter Soldier as high as everybody else do. But I will tell you this: Black Panther and Winter Soldier are only 2 Marvel movies that have something to say. These other movies are just movies. Doctor Strange is just there. Thor is just there. And when I went into, and remember how I kept ranting about Black Panther last week on the podcast, I'm like, with all these Marvel movies that keep cranking out, how good can the movie be? And then for the first third of the movie, that's what I got. Okay, this is going to be your standard Marvel movie. But since I love Marvel movies, that was fine with me. But then, like you said, when Killmonger showed up, he took the movie to another level. Even when he just walked into any scene, he took the movie to another level. And then I was like, okay, I got more than I bargained for than I thought I was expecting from a Marvel movie. That's why I ranked it so high. But at the same time, it still delivered on everything else I was looking for. Source material wise, it probably sticks to the source material closer than any other Marvel movie I've ever seen. And just Wakanda felt like a real place. It felt like when I was watching the movie, I felt like I was in Wakanda. When the movie was called, I left Wakanda. It felt more real than say like Asgard or some shit like that. It reminded me of like what George Lucas did with Star Wars. Even though the first Star Wars movie was on a shoestring budget, when you watched that movie, you felt like you was in that galaxy. And then when the movie cut off, you left that galaxy. That's what it felt like to me, So, like I said, love the movie. Want to go back. Can't see it because it's sold out everywhere, but I will get a chance to see it again. And yeah, now, like I said, since I said it was a 5 out of 5, that does not mean I think it's a perfect movie. Yes, I admit the movie has flaws to it. Yes, I admit that the CGI could have been a little bit better. I admit that they went through with the same tropes, like having a level 1 boss villain and having the hero having the same powers as the villains at the end of the movie. Yes, I agree with all the stuff, but to me, that's just nitpicking. That doesn't hurt the movie. It didn't hurt the movie like it did with Thor Ragnarok with all them goddamn jokes in it. You know, they talking about the apocalypse or the end of the world, the biblical revelations, and they're cracking jokes all the way through with it. And it felt like they did it because they didn't trust their movie. They overdid it with the jokes, but they didn't trust their own movie. With this movie, the jokes were at a minimum. When they were there, they worked. But at the same time, the movie was, you know, held up by the character, and it really felt like Ryan Coogler's movie. Like I said, I know you haven't seen Creed, but I've seen Creed, so I know what this guy can do.
I've seen Creed.
Oh, you did see Creed? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I love Creed. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you saw it or not. So then when I felt the movie, I felt like it was his movie. I didn't feel like he was just, you know, work for hire. I felt like he was speaking through this movie. It felt like Disney was like, okay, Ryan Coogler, make me a black Iron Man. He was like, sure, okay. And then as soon as he turned it back, he did an evil laugh. You know, I'm going to throw this extra stuff into the movie. But the way he did it, it wasn't overbearing. Like I said, it's there if you want to. Like I said, we can talk about a lot of people, black and white, we're getting this Black Panther movie confused with the Black Panther Party movie. Like, oh, it's about the Black Panthers. And then you got some people saying, oh, no, it's not. It's nothing to do with that. But the thing is, if you pay attention enough, it actually was. If you pay attention. But I go to that in the spoiler section. But yeah, nothing else I got to talk about that. Anything else you got to bring up on that before we go to the actual... what's your rating?
My rating? I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I mean, like I said, I liked it. It's you know... I just had, I think some of the action for me was just a little lackluster. Yeah. Kind of standard superhero-y action fare. The CGI. I felt some of the action scenes were just a little. I didn't have those like wow moments. It didn't give me that punch, like, oh shit, like, whoa, you know.
Now I'm agreeing with you on that point. The fight scenes Black Panther had in Civil War were better than the one in this movie.
Yeah, and I go back to Winter Soldier, where you saw all those choreographed scenes where, you know, Winter Soldier like has the knife fight, you know, and he punches and it gets blocked, but then he drops the knife and catches it in the other hand, and like those cool little, you know, fight choreography details that are like, oh shit, you know. And I felt I didn't get that from this movie as much. I mean, there was nothing wrong with the action scenes. It's just I didn't feel that it didn't, I'm all about the raid and all that shit.
So, right, and I agree with you. This wasn't the raid, right?
Yeah, and you know, so it was just, you know, the standard PG-13 superhero fight shit, CGI. You know, nothing that I haven't seen, but I could say, as much as I love Spider-Man: Homecoming, I felt the same way about that. I mean, as far as action, it didn't give me anything I hadn't seen before. So that's pretty much my main gripe with the movie. It's just the lackluster action scenes. So, but other than that, 4 out of 5. I love the storyline, I love the plot, I love the characters, and what the movie had to say. And right. And that's why I like Winter Soldier so much, is because it did sneak in a lot of, you know, social, you know, current events into that movie. Like, wow, a superhero movie doesn't deserve to be this smart. You know what I mean? That's what I got out of this. You know what I mean? You know,
especially, like I said, especially with Marvel movies, because I mean, they kind of, the thing about Marvel movies, I don't think there's ever been a bad Marvel Studios movie. I don't think they've made a bad one yet, but there's only a few great ones they made. The majority of these movies are good, entertaining. They're junk food. That's what they are, you know. Thor 2 to me wasn't bad, but at the same time it was junk food. Nothing you'll think twice about. Ant-Man, Doctor Strange. We can just keep going, you know. And as far as like the CGI on Black Panther, I'm not gonna nitpick. Like I do feel less nitpicking. I'm like, how am I gonna play? Oh, that fight with the cyborg rhino wasn't realistic. I mean, come on, that's nitpicking at that point. I mean, it is a comic book movie when it's all said and done. But I agree with you. There have been better Marvel movies with better fight scenes in them. But like I said, the movie did everything else with. That's why I say it's not a perfect movie, but I'm still giving it a perfect score, because it doesn't. In my mind, it's like, does this movie move the needle? It does. Does the movie do everything that I was expecting to do? It does. And on what it delivers on, it delivers. You know. Can we move to the like spoiler section now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so for the 5 of you still listening to the podcast and you haven't watched the movie, which I know you haven't, you go ahead and cut this podcast off. We talk to you guys next week when we talk about, I don't know, Red Hood and the Outlaws #6 or some shit. I don't know. Is that book even still being made? I don't know. What the fuck ever. Anyway, like I said, we can move on to the next section. Like I said, this is a spoiler podcast, and now we actually talk about the characters. Like I said, we could talk about T'Challa. We can talk about Killmonger. Now, what did you think about the whole opening scene? You know, with young T'Chaka and his brother, with that whole scene right there.
In the beginning.
Yeah, like the very beginning.
I thought it was fine. I mean, yeah, it does have those elements of, when you bring up Star Wars and all that shit. I mean, that roots back into classic Gothic literature of the sins of the father and the secrets of the family that the father tries to keep secret and stuff. And it came back to bite him in the end. And I thought that was cool. I thought I thought it set up the movie pretty cool.
But do you think he was right for leaving the boy?
Oh, well, that's up for debate. I mean, we could go fucking on and on about that. I mean, I think it was kind of fucked up. And this can be like introducing the political commentary as far as like refugees and half-breed. I mean, and I told you last night, I was like, Black Panther, this movie is one of the most Native American themed movies I've seen in a long time. It deals with a lot of similar issues that Native Americans deal with.
Yeah.
And as far as blood quantum and tribal enrollment and all that stuff, and that kid sort of represented that element. Young Killmonger and all that.
Yeah.
So I felt that it hit those issues really well. And yeah, I thought it was fucked up. I mean, especially me being a half breed, I'm not a full blood native, and people will let me know about it,
You're quick to remind you, huh?
Yeah. and say what I deserve or what I don't deserve, or what I'm allowed to do or what I'm not allowed to do, or how native I am and all that shit. So that was a really cool detail about the movie, and that was just one of many that I can go on. But yeah.
And here's the thing, and I mean, through what happened, I can kind of understand T'Chaka's point, even though it was fucked up, because like I said, he just killed his brother. He killed his brother in protection of the country, which at the time he did it, he felt like he did the right thing. Now, as far as that boy, he understands that boy is a reminder of him every time he looks at him on what he did. Like, if I bring that boy back when I see him, I know that boy reminds me that I killed my brother. And plus, if that boy finds out what I did and I bring him back to Africa, back with me, when he grows up, he's going to get revenge. He's going to kill me as old as he is. So the best scenario to do with this boy is basically bury him. Leave him where he is. Because in the situation he is, he's going to grow up without a father. In that environment, he probably won't make it to 25 anyway. So I won't have to deal with him. Problem was, he survived. He made it through it. He went through the military, which a lot of black kids do go through the military to make it out of the hood. They go get trained. They learn how to kill. They do all this stuff, and they come back and they are not the same way they were when they came back, because since you killed people, you can't go back in society and function that way. It just doesn't work the same way like that. So they basically turn this, the Americans turned him into a weapon. And when he was old enough, he went back to Wakanda. And it's a lot of things. Here's the thing, Eli, this is the reason I like the movie so much. There's a lot of things that a lot of black people caught that I think a lot of people didn't catch. Killmonger was us. He was me. He was the black person. That's basically what he was. He was the black person that, grew up in, and just speak for all black people, just black people just struggles like that. But at the same time, he was close enough that he could understand where his roots came from. So he did come back to his roots. And when he came back there, he was not welcome. And that's another thing this movie is trying to tell, because the movie airs a lot of light on stuff that black people don't like to admit. Like, for instance, African Americans and Africans don't get along. Like, Africans don't like us. They, all the stuff that Trump supporters say about us, We're lazy. We're good for nothing. We sit on our ass all day. We steal. They think the same thing.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, I lived in Florida for a while, and yeah, yeah, Jamaicans hate Haitians who hate Cubans, and they all hate American black people.
right, that's what I'm saying. so all everything is, who's calling me? You hear that? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
I wish these fuckers stop calling me, man. I can't even put mute on it. So hold on, let me do this. Okay, there we go. Stop calling me. Now, what I was saying is the movie kind of digs into, like, all these Trump supporters always saying, well, go back to Africa if you don't like it so much. Get your ass on the boat and get back there. The movie explains why we can't go back.
Yeah.
Because Killmonger went back to Africa, but he was so influenced by Western culture, by Western ways, just him being there, everything he did poisoned the black utopia around him. So he was too influenced by the culture. He was bringing that with him. He wasn't welcome because he doesn't know the culture. Matter of fact, he didn't care about the culture. He was just going to, whatever I feel like doing, like these vibranium flowers you have right there, fuck them, burn them all, because I don't care what happens after I'm gone. I'm here to serve my own agenda. And that's what the movie is trying to say. If we go back to Africa and do the same thing, we're going to bring back what we know. And matter of fact, let me bring up another point also. Remember I was saying about how we were dressing up and that? Who the fuck keeps calling me, man? Anyway, let me get back to what I was doing. Now, remember I was telling you about how everybody was dressing up in dashikis and, kente cloth and dressing up in African garb going to the Black Panther movie?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people saying, yeah, and I know you asked me earlier, like, is it okay if a white person does that? Is it okay if they do that? A lot of people say, and people have problems with saying that even we shouldn't do it. We shouldn't go to the movie dressing up in dashikis and dressing up in African garb and dressing up in kente cloth because it's not our culture. Even though we're black, even though we get it from black people, it's not our culture. We're basically like, you get mad at people, wearing, Native American, Halloween costumes. Mm-hmm. That's basically what we were doing. We were cosplaying.
Yeah.
We were cosplaying as Africans, even though we're technically not African, not anymore. So yeah. I mean, it's arguments on both sides. Like we're appropriating another culture.
Yeah, and this is something that I saw in the movie. I mean, because you remember last week when I told you that I was kind of jealous of black people because they have a superhero that they can root for and this movie for them and all that stuff, and I was like, that natives don't really have that. Yeah. And I went and saw this movie. I came out of it kind of feeling bad for, African American black people because they don't, and this is something that, American black people, they don't know their original heritage, their original cultural ways. I mean, it sort of starts with slavery. Yeah, and
I could probably trace the slave plantation my ancestors went to, and that's as far as it goes back.
Yeah, but if you go back even further, every black person comes from a country of origin, a country. Their ancestors come from a specific tribe. And they don't know their cultural ways, their ceremonies, or even their original language. And I was like, wow, as a Native American, as fucked up as this country's tried to erase our ways, we still have them. We still have those roots. We still have our language. We still have our ceremonies and our religious practices. And I was like, wow, it just really made me open up my eyes about American black people. I was like, wow, and it made me feel bad. And it's like, wow. And I was like, wow, that's something, that you guys could do. You guys could go back to, like not physically, right? But like trace your roots back before slavery. You know what I mean? Yeah. And just to find out where your true heritage is from. Because I mean, American black people have made the most of the American experience. Yeah, they've created a whole new culture. As far as hip hop and the blues, and they've made this culture their own. They've strived with what has been done to them. Right. But it still can go back even further to their places, their roots. No pun intended. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's what I felt sad. I was like, wow, they because watching, even though it's a fictional country, they had this culture. They had their ceremonies and all that stuff. Their rituals, their dances, the warrior fall scenes, and all that stuff. They had these tribal customs, and it'd be cool if everybody knew that. I mean, even white people who are from American white people,
they know they're Scottish and Irish.
They have to go back
right
to Europe and find where they're actually from, and
and that's the thing. That's why when you watch this movie, and that's why you're seeing a lot of range of scores, because for some black people like me and like other ones, we identify with Killmonger. For us, a little while in the movie, Killmonger became the hero.
Yeah.
We started rooting for him after a while because he was basically making a good point. Like, okay, you have this black utopia. And even though that is an awesome idea and an awesome concept, if it really exists, that would be a really big problem. When you have African countries even next to you, neighboring you, in poverty, all of these problems, and you have this bubble around you where you're not paying attention to anything that's going on. You're not helping anybody that's going on. So yes, Killmonger is like, okay, since you want to live in this bubble and not do anything, I'm going to make you become active. And we were like, everything he's saying is making a good point. And another thing about it, like when he actually became the leader and he sat on the throne, that's when I started saying that the Black Panther Party mentality started to come alive. And it was pretty overt and blatant if you know it. Like I said, people think this movie had nothing to do with it. It actually did. He actually was saying some stuff that Huey P. Newton, Geronimo Pratt, Fred Hampton. Yes, I know my Black Panthers. so be scared of me. But that's the whole point of it, that he started actually saying things that they were preaching. He was like, all of these black people out here that are out there struggling. Back in the 60s or the 70s, they tried to start a revolution. The reason they couldn't start a revolution because they didn't have the tools to start the revolution. So what I'm going to do is give them the revolution. That's all the Black Panther Party was preaching at the time. Defend yourself. Exercise your Second Amendment. You know how cops was killing black people left and right? Imagine how that was back in the 60s.
Yeah.
So they were just like, okay, fuck that. You're not just going to catch me and I can't have no way to defend my life. So that's what they were saying, was preach the Second Amendment, protect yourself, arm yourself. The problem is Killmonger took it one step a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Where he said all that, but he would say, okay, protect yourself, defend yourself, kill Whitey. And we're like, wait, what? We were with you up until that point.
Yeah, and that museum scene is probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah,
where they introduce him and he's looking at all the artifacts and the vibranium spear or whatever. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like for me, Killmonger represented the anger of people of color have towards colonization.
Right.
I mean, because I related to it as a Native American. I mean, that another Native issue, repatriation.
Right.
Getting back our artifacts, our human remains that are still in the Smithsonian, that the museums have held on to our artifacts and our burial rights and all that stuff. That's an issue in Indian country where we're trying to get it back. We're trying to repatriate our artifacts and our human remains that they still hold in museums. And I thought, yeah, Killmonger represented the anger and frustration that, I mean, all minorities have in America,
Right.
I mean, hey, like I felt I was saying the same shit he was saying last year when I was watching all that footage on Standing Rock.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, hell yeah.
Right. And see, that's the thing where Killmonger, where he had a point to a point. I was agreeing with him until he was like, whatever, like the colonizers and the Western civilization and whatever was done to me, I'm going to learn everything they did and do it back to them. He wanted to colonize. He wanted to conquer. Yeah. He became a warlord. And that's why I was saying that he brought the Western ways with him to Wakanda, which is why he wasn't welcome. You know what? Another thing that was like really, really stood out to me, like when he took over, notice how when he first walked in the throne and the camera was all upside down, and notice he came in the rap music.
Yep.
They're like, no, rap music didn't play any time in the movie except for the time where they're like, see, this is what Africans think of us. That's what they think. If we're in charge, like African Americans in charge, this is the shit that's gonna happen. We're gonna show up with no shirt on, with a gold chain, sitting in the throne, leg cocked up. We're gonna play rap music all the way through. We're gonna show up late when we want to. So that's he embodied that, and he embodied that with anger. Like, okay, I don't care about tradition. You treated me like shit the entire time. Treat me like shit the entire movie. I'm going to turn it on you. So that's why, Black Panther had to put a stop to it. But at the same time, he brought up such a good point that you can imagine that Black Panther at the same time, like T'Challa, was on the fence on what to do. Do I keep up with tradition the same way it was before, or do I change? Because here's the thing, like, a lot of, uptight conservatives don't want to see this movie, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, this movie has more to do with them than anything else.
Yeah.
Wakanda is the alt-right.
Yeah.
That's what the whole movie is about. That was my whole article I wrote about, Wakanda is Trump's America, because that's what the movie was trying to say. The things that Wakandans were saying is the same thing that the white nationalists, the alt-right conservatives are saying. We want America closed off. We want to build the wall. We don't want refugees. We don't want immigrants coming in. We don't want them. Whatever happens to the outside world, third world countries, we don't want any part of it. That's their business. They were saying the same. We want to keep tradition. Everything Wakanda is saying is the same thing the alt-right is saying right now. It's no different. That's what I'm saying. If they were to watch this movie and take away color and just look at this universal message, they would see that. So that's all I'm saying from there. And Wakanda T'Challa didn't know which way he wanted to go, but when Killmonger came in, he was like, these traditional ways, these old ways you're doing, they don't work. They have not been working. You know what Wakanda reminds me of? Not just the alt-right, but they remind me, okay, as far as like on the black side of it, they remind me of some uppity black people that live in a rich neighborhood, gated community that don't care about anything else around them,
Yep.
They remind me of like the athletes and the rappers and the entertainers, anything that get lots of money, become millionaires, building stuff like that. And the moment they make it in the hood, they do not look back.
Yeah.
That's basically, yeah.
And this might be a controversial subject for me.
Yep.
I saw the same shit as far as the native issues, back to Native American issues.
Yeah.
That Wakanda was like a casino reservation.
Yeah.
Making millions off of casino money, and they're all millionaires and shit, and the rest of us are struggling.
Right. And they won't even look back. Right.
And I mean, sure, some reservations do put money back into the community, but they're living, like I said, when he came in, you all living comfortably. Y'all all comfortable. Like, well, we're all out here struggling. I'm like, yeah, no shit. And,
so basically, you want to become Killmonger, go to a casino and fuck everybody up. Find me the biggest, baddest leader in here so I can throw him off a fucking waterfall.
It's like, well, I'm native, but I ain't a member of that tribe.
Right.
What I mean? So I don't get that money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and that's the funny thing about Wakanda, like, they're saying we don't see color. Wakanda doesn't see color. Black, white, native, Chinese, whatever. If you're not Wakandan, you ain't shit. That's the way they think.
And that's a privilege.
Right.
That's a privilege to people who don't see color.
Right.
They're living in a bubble. They're living in a vacuum.
Right.
I mean, it's awesome to have that point of view of just, everyone's human and blah, 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 blah. But, you're living in a fucking bubble if you don't see,
right. And it's a weird thing. Right. It's a weird thing to say that Wakanda had black privilege.
Yes.
I think that's the weirdest fucking thing to say, but that's what they had,
Yeah.
That's why they can have a Black Panther. They can have, a billionaire superhero with all this second shit like that. But like Rwanda or Ethiopia or Nigeria right next to them can't afford that,
Yeah. No shit.
And so, yeah, it all comes first. So that's why I'm saying if the alt-right conservatives would stop boycotting, stop protesting, and actually watch the movie, they would understand and get that message, because it's saying the same thing that you've been saying for years. It's the same reason why Trump came into power, because he was speaking your language.
Yeah. No
and that's how Killmonger came into language. He was speaking their language.
Yeah.
And so, Like I said, that's what I'm saying, Eli. It was a lot of deep stuff going on in this movie that I like. That I'm pretty sure that a lot of people didn't catch that stuff, but it was right there. And that's why I also like that at the end of the movie, T'Challa realized that the old ways didn't work, but Killmonger's way didn't work either. He was an extremist. He was a radical, so his way didn't work. But what he did at the end was kind of like a middle ground. You know, Wakanda's not going to live in a bubble anymore. We're not going to be a bubble society. We're not going to be traditionalist and conservative. We are going to. And the first thing he did, he went to Oakland. You know, and he built outreach centers and he put money in the black communities and, you know, built schools, you know, to teach them math and science, stuff like that. So he can make a Wakanda outside of Wakanda, which if you talk to a lot of, you know, black intellectuals, they say the same thing. You want to stop crime in the black community, put jobs in there, put schools in there, put education in there, give opportunities in there. That's how you fix this stuff. Not that shit Batman does, just beating the fuck out of people. Yeah. You know, you want to fix it. That's what you do, not vigilanteism. And that's what I like.
Yeah, and when you said that was it, T'Challa was Obama,
right?
I mean that was so true because I felt that like back when Obama first won the presidency, and how inspiring it was.
Right.
You know, it was all everybody had to do was go vote. You know, the power was already there. It just needed to be exercised.
Right.
And by just inspiring that, by T'Challa just showing up in the hood. And just showing these black kids, look what we can do.
Exactly.
All you got to do is just get off your ass and do it. You know, get out and vote. And, you know, that's what Obama did. He got everybody to go vote for him. And, you know, the power was there. You know, it's just we've been conditioned to think we didn't have it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's why I love this movie so much because it's a different type of movie. It's not, you know, and another thing I want to make up, people comparing, okay, you're going to spend all this money on Black Panther and see the movie. Why don't you see a real hero? Like, remember that movie Birth of a Nation? Completely flopped.
Yeah.
Completely flopped. Okay. You won't see Birth of a Nation. You won't see Selma. You won't see 12 Years a Slave. You won't, like, shut the fuck up. We're tired of, look, me personally, I'm tired of these fucking slave movies. I'm tired of us getting whipped and beaten the fuck up and raped every time in a movie. I don't watch this shit. I mean, it's cool to watch it one time, but I don't want to see that shit every time I go to the movie theater. That shit is depressing. That shit, you know, breaks your spirit. So yes, give me something like a power fantasy. What this is, Black Panther is just like a power fantasy, just like it is for young boys to watch Superman. You know, they can't be Superman, but he's a power fantasy. So give me a black utopia where kings and queens and they have all this stuff. And you got this superhero that's smart, fast, brilliant, you know, banging Storm and all that shit like that. Give me that. Give me something I can't attain to, but at least make me want to attain to that. You know?
From a country that was never colonized by white folks.
Exactly. You know? That's why they were able to.
And what happened when they see what happens when white folks don't fuck up everything?
Right.
You know, I mean, you could say that.
And it's our last show.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was so many messages in it that I want to get, and like I said, the action scenes were not the greatest action scenes ever made. I liked them. I thought they were pretty well done, but yes, there have been better Marvel movies that had better action. They've been better. DC has had some better action in some of this stuff, like that Batman warehouse scene. You want to put it to that? Oh yeah, yeah. But what would you rather have? Would you rather have a movie with a deep message to it, or would you rather have a shit movie like BVS with one good warehouse scene? You know?
No shit.
Yeah, pick your poison. You know.
I mean, I there's nothing wrong with I thought the car chase scene was probably the coolest part of the movie.
Yeah, before they spoiled it on the internet.
Yeah.
You saw the whole damn thing.
I stopped watching clips, man. I remember they were showing like that casino scene on Jimmy Kimmel or whatever. I ain't watching that.
Right.
I want to see it.
And like I said, I got nothing else. Anything else you got on an Eli? Or?
Like I said, I thought it was like the most Native American movie I've seen in a long time.
I thought it was the blackest movie I've seen in all time. So we agree on that. You know, so
yeah, I mean, as far as universal messages, I mean, I think it really touched up on a lot of issues that, you know, people of color deal with every day. You know, and yeah, it is one of the better Marvel movies out there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people want to compare this to Wonder Woman, like last year. Like, oh, Wonder Woman was this milestone. Well, like I said, when I look back at it, I didn't think Wonder Woman, because the reason I don't compare Wonder Woman like that, because I did feel like Wonder Woman was derivative. I felt like it did feel like, oh, it's Captain America and Thor just with a woman. He just retelling the story again. I don't feel like Black Panther was another movie. You know, I don't feel like, only thing I can say it was close to with James Bond, but that was like on in the first, you know, first act of the movie. I didn't feel like I was watching Black Iron Man or Captain Africa or some shit like that. I felt like it was an original movie, an original concept that they took from that, and that's why I appreciate it. So like I said, I'm still putting. I say Civil War. I'm in between either Winter Soldier, or Black Panther. Right now, I'm saying Black Panther. Next week, I might say something else, but yeah, those two. And I'm putting Civil War number 1 because Black Panther was in it. So yeah, I get my cake and eat it too.
Well, they are. Yeah, I mean, those are the two. Yeah, Civil War, Winter Soldier. Those are like two of the best.
Yeah.
Marvel movies. I mean, right up there with. I mean, I still love the first Avengers. I don't give a shit.
It's dated. That's all I'm saying. When the movie first came out, that movie blew me away. But I do feel like the first Avengers movie is kind of dated, especially when I watched it. Like I said, let's put it together. That movie came out 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So at the time, it blew the doors off. But you go back to it, you're like, it's a better movie than that. I put Guardians of the Galaxy over it now. That's just me.
Yeah.
The first one, not the second one. The first one.
Yeah. The second one is long. I watched that recently. And
it just feels long. That's all. It's not. It feels long. That's the thing. So, because that second act is just like it's nothing happened. It's just like we're just waiting for the third act to happen.
Yeah. And after watching Wonder Woman a few times, the ending drags out. I'm like, it turns into every other superhero movie.
Right. Video game.
I still love the first half is great. I still love the first half of Wonder Woman, and I mean it's an origin story. And what about the thing about Black Panther is this is like. This and like Guardians, the Guardians movies are like the only Marvel movies that kind of stand on their own, where you don't need to see the other ones. I mean, sure, there's references to T'Chaka dying in Civil War,
but they recapped that. They recapped that, so even if you didn't see it, you understand.
Yeah, and the Bucky scene at the end, but that's just the
after credits. Let me talk about Bucky. We got to talk about Bucky.
Okay.
I completely. I think you remind me. Okay, now remember we called him a White Wolf, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now a lot of people thought it was like a funny joke, or it was racism or something like that. Actually, it wasn't. It was actually an Easter egg. Because in the Christopher Priest run of Black Panther, he had a white stepbrother named White Wolf. Remember the Dogs of War?
Vaguely.
From Colt's run, his other army.
Vaguely.
Okay.
You're the more Black Panther maestro,
right? Y'all can't see me right now. I'm putting in my black fist right now. But anyway, in the comic, his name is Hunter. He's in charge of the Dogs of War. They got some weird African name. I can't remember what time of hand. Hate, Zuzu, blah blah blah. Dogs of War. That's what it is. So watching that, calling him the White Wolf, it was like, Bucky might be the MCU's White Wolf. Because when I saw him, he's got his new vibranium arm. He has the machine gun. He's standing with another army that has, all their vibranium weapons like that. And I'm like, what if Black Panther decided to make Bucky the head of his Dogs of War? If they make him the head of the Dogs of War, that makes him the White Wolf. I'm like, I can deal with that. Now a lot of people are mad. A lot of people are mad because they're like, no, you need to make him the original character. Make him like, no. This is the MCU. Combine all that shit. Get all the excess shit out of there. Make him one guy. It's cool. You got enough white dudes. Make one of them white dudes, White Wolf. Call it a day. I'm fine with Bucky. Is it me that Bucky kind of looked like Jesus at the end? Coming out with the cloth and the long beard. So now when I watch the Infinity War clip after seeing him at the end of Civil War, all I see is cyborg machine gun wielding Jesus fighting aliens.
Now I have a question here.
Yeah.
Regarding the Dora Milaje. Now, were they making references to the Midnight Angels?
They did not, but what I was hearing that was a cut scene.
Okay.
Like they were going to do it, but they cut that scene out. So
yeah, because they were cool. They were another high point for me. I mean, especially Denai Guerrero, or the chick who plays Michonne.
Right.
I just know her as Michonne.
I don't watch Walking Dead, so. But here's the thing. There's a paradox. There's a paradox because that actress was in an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Marvel, you need to fix this shit or something.
Yeah, I like that one scene too. I thought that's the thing. I like another, the when she made that remark about the wig,
Right. I love it. That was kind of a meta reference right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it worked on so many levels. Because she on Walking Dead, she wears this big wig with the braids and stuff, and and then she's wearing it in this movie, and she's like, oh, this thing is so stupid. So it's like, not only was she making a statement on, hair.
Right, because a lot of black women are starting to move away from wigs and weaves and trying to go natural. There's some, not all, but some are trying to get away from the wigs and weaves and stuff.
Yeah, but that Western, there was a comment. Not only was there a comment on the Western standard of beauty, but she was also kind of might have make a stab at her role on Walking Dead.
See, I don't watch Walking Dead, so I didn't catch that, but I just caught on the other end too. Yeah. So I thought it was awesome when she threw her wig at the guy to fight him and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah.
So yeah, man, I got nothing to talk about the movie. Like I said, I'm gonna see it again. I'm gonna watch it on Blu-ray. I'm gonna watch it like a fuckload of times when it comes out, and I'm just having a good time just talking. The funny thing about it, see, this Black Panther movie, I know a lot of people, this is their first Marvel movie that they went and saw. That's insane to me. Yeah. Like, there's 18 of these, and you're saying this is the first one you've seen? Like, yeah, I've never seen any of them. I've never cared to see any of them. Like, Avengers, fuck it, Thor, fuck it, like, damn, that's kind of mind blowing. I mean, because being the nerd that I am, I'm like, these are like day one things, I don't think anything about it, but yeah, it's like weird that this is their first movie, so. Yeah,
it is, being a geek and like seeing shit on the opening weekend and, because there's been all this build up for years. Like, we've been following it since they announced the fucking movie for the past few years. Right. And now it's out. We know everything about it. We've seen it. And then when I hear somebody, oh, I haven't seen it yet, I'm like, what?
So it's insane. Yeah. But I see a lot of people just enjoy it. The people that have seen it, they have enjoyed the movie. They liked it. A lot of people that don't like the movie, whatever. Eli, I'm just saying, if anybody is black and didn't like this movie, I don't trust them. I can't. I'm sorry. You just, if you need a car ride home, you stay away from me. Call somebody else. So, but yeah, anybody else, if you can like the movie, you can not like it. If you don't like the movie, that does not make you racist. Let's just clear that up right now. I should have said it at the very beginning of the podcast, but I'm just saying that now. Yeah. It does not make you racist. We can have different opinions on movies. We don't have to be hive-minded, especially a movie like this. People are going to get different things from the movie. So if you didn't get from the movie what I didn't get from the movie, that doesn't make, that just means that, the movie is either not for you or you like other movies better. That's fine, Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not black, but I saw a bunch of native issues in the movie.
Right.
To me.
Right. I'm saying, like I said, they're indigenous to their tribe. So it's a lot, to get from there. So.
Yeah, and yeah, just because and all that backlash over the one guy that didn't like it on Rotten Tomatoes and how they, the internet tore into him and shit. It's like,
we don't need that, man. We need to talk about this movie. If people didn't like the movie, we need to not scare people into talking openly about it. That's not how because we have a divide in this country, in this world like that, and not talking about it is how that divide grows bigger.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm hoping
the internet does. The internet takes like one little stupid incident and then it goes viral, and then everybody hears about it and think that one little anomaly is the common thing.
Right?
No, it's not.
But what they're trying to do, they think they can scare or bully somebody into making a bad review. Yeah,
because I think I was watching. Was it Stuckman or whatever, the Stuckmanized guy?
Yeah.
And he even addressed that. He's like, now it's not a perfect movie, and I just want to address that. Just because I don't like certain things doesn't mean that blah blah blah. Like, he had to like
because he knew because he know if he went the way he went, that they were going to attack him on it too. So he just had to say that ahead of time. So.
Like, damn, look at the world we live in, where like I gotta now I'm not racist. I'm not trying to shit on nothing.
You have to make a disclaimer on everything before you do anything.
I just thought the CGI was just okay. That's all I'm saying. Okay, please don't kill me.
Right. And the thing is, for me, like I said, I gave the movie 5 out of 5. I'm probably in an unpopular opinion, but that's okay because I felt like for this movie, certain parts of this movie, I felt like Ryan Coogler was reaching into my head and making my movie, like a movie that I want to see. Like, what you want, Leroy? You want a black ninja? Okay. You want to be a billionaire? Okay. You want him bulletproof? Okay. You want him to be the bad guy that have the same, viewpoints as you? Yes. So I can't be mad at a movie that I feel like it's tailor made for me. Yes, it's going to be a 5 out of 5. If others don't agree, they just don't agree. I'm not mad at anybody that doesn't agree.
Yeah.
So That's what I think. Now there are some people that are mad because they thinking that I should have brought this up earlier with Killmonger. They say Killmonger might say he's the villain of the movie and he kind of represent Black Lives Matter. They're saying they kind of villainizing Black Lives Matter. I don't know. Just something they threw out there. I don't know. I didn't make that connection. I'm not gonna make an article about it. Don't worry about it. I know Ryan's freaking out.
Well, and that goes back to what I was saying before, is he represents that anger and frustration of, American minorities,
right?
And the anger they feel towards the colonization, and a lot of times it's justified, because we all can relate to it. It's just what we do. In the end, he was right to a certain point.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's what he did with that anger is what made him the villain.
Right. Because he was too selfish, too self-absorbed.
I mean, he went back and he burned up the herbs and the heart herbs or whatever the fuck, and he was like basically trying to kill the old ways.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that the old way, as much as they may be old-fashioned, your culture is what is your identity, where is who you are as a people, is where your culture comes from. And he went back there and started fucking it all up. And,
right.
And that's the thing, is like going back to, the native issue and how pissed off I was over all the shit that was going on in Standing Rock and everyone, we should do this and blah, 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 blah. And, the anger is only going to work so far before it starts ruining the people's lives, because for every angry Indian, there was a massacre that was the result of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. It all depends on what you do with it afterwards.
Yeah. All the uprisings that the native warriors, took out in anger. It was always the fucking women and children and the old people that suffered for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just, anger can only work so far before you have to, start recognize the problem and then how to move forward, and that's what T'Challa did at the end.
Right. He did the right thing, but he realized the old ways didn't work. So he found the middle ground to make it work. And that's why, and that's the message the movie was trying to do. If you have privilege, if you're in a position of power, help others. That's what the main movie, black, white, whatever, doesn't matter. Just do that. That's all the movie's trying to say.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
Right. And that's another thing. Last thing I bring up. Now, Eli, I know you sent me this about, there's a petition about Marvel wanting, a petition. They want Marvel to take 25% and put it back in the black community.
Oh, I saw something about that, yeah.
Something of it. I know you sent it to me. I just want to address it. That is the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard. I don't know how big that thing is. That is the stupidest shit I ever heard. How are you going to, like, for instance, us as black people, how are we going to give money to Marvel? To tell money to give money back to us. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Spend money on Black Panther. Like I said, and that's a lot of times people are saying about that, like we are spending a lot of money on Black Panther when we could put the money into the community. If you want to spend money on Black Panther, spend the other half, put that away, put the community also. Like I said, this movie made $200 million over the weekend. A lot of that came from black dollars. We can put that money back into the neighborhoods and help ourselves out. We don't have to give the money to Disney and then, threaten or bully Disney into giving the money back to us. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard. Plus, Disney is helping us out. They're employing black actors, black directors, black producers. They're putting money into Georgia, where a lot of black people work there. In Atlanta, at that. Yeah. Hell, right. Tyler Perry's studio was some of that shit was filmed at Tyler Perry's studio.
Yeah.
And so we can't bite the hand that feeds us, That's all I got to say about that. Other than that, yeah.
I mean, they can if they want to. I mean,
they can if they want to, but they're not required. They can if they want to, but they're not required to. I don't.
Yeah. They shouldn't. This ain't like shut them down. It ain't Nike.
Right. H&M or some shit.
Yeah. Like Chuck D. I like Nike, but wait a minute.
Right.
The neighbors supports to put some money in it. I get what he's saying, but
And so that being said, like I said, everything we're gonna say about Black Panther, we've said it. Probably said it twice or three times and like that. Anything else we need to address, Eli? Or?
I think we got it.
I think we got it. Next week, guys, don't worry. We will be back to the comic book shit. We will talk about some shit that's out there. I don't know what the fuck is out. If you listen to it this long, and we didn't scare you away, definitely like, share, subscribe. Listen to the other comic book podcasts we have going on in the Comic Book Illuminati. Definitely listen to Eli's sister podcast, Geek Sab, which I'm pretty sure they're going to have part 2 of this conversation we're having. We got other ones. We have, like I said, Comic Cast. We got Get Valiant. We got Hoodoo. We got Instruments of Destruction. Instruments of Destruction got a new one. They got a new podcast out. Yeah, they got a new episode, so definitely check that out. This Geeks and Comics. I think that's all of them. I didn't get all of them. Fuck it, who cares? Yeah. Other than that, like I said, definitely check us out next week, and we will talk to you guys later there. Until then, this is Leroy.
This is Eli.
And we will talk to you guys later. Cool. How was it? I was actually trying to wrap it up a little bit sooner. Let me cut this off.
Yeah, one